Jai Hind everyone. Just imagine a single water source that quenched the thirst of every citizen of Leh. A single water source which was not just a symbol of water security but a prominent example of heritage conservation. Now, we are talking about the tea trench, a source that was almost lost forever, but the good news is again. A source that represented the traditional wisdom of the people of Ladakh around water conservation in such a high altitude desert. So, it was not just a water source, it was a symbol of wisdom and symbol of heritage conservation. Now, when we talk about this tea trench, let us discuss that what effectively is this tea trench all about. Now, it was built in the 1980s when Leh had minimal infrastructure. Now, it was a spring-fed water channel shaped like the letter T, hence people started calling it the tea trench. Okay. The original purpose was to provide the drinking water for the entire city of Leh, and it was designed in this T form to distribute water efficiently across the growing town. It served as a lifeline during the limited infrastructure era, and not just water source. As I have told you, it was not just a symbol of water security, but it represented Ladakh's traditional wisdom of water conservation in a high arid altitude region. So one thing that we can truly see through this tea trench was that even though we had the wisdom, we had the resources, we had the complete infrastructure, but we paid the price for ignoring our ancient practices. Okay. So, moving ahead, when we see how did this decline and how from being a lifeline it became an example of neglect. Now, when we move ahead, in this region, okay, there was unchecked urbanization. Okay, recently, I was talking about students and I was talking about the mains answer writing and the essay answer writing, wherein we had been discussing various topics, and one previous topics had very clearly mentioned, and it was a previous year question that says urbanization, which was leading to health hazards. Okay, so this is efficiently a perfect example that the unchecked urbanization or the unplanned urbanization, how it had affected not just the individual but the entire ecosystem. So, unplanned and unbridled construction around the water body gradually reduced its utility. The buildings and roads were built too close to the trench, which disrupted its natural flow. The water body's capacity shrank from 5 lakh liters a day originally to just 3 lakhs liters a day. Now, over time, one's crucial source fell into disuse and it was largely forgotten. Result? The Leh faced growing water stress despite its rich spring heritage. Now, we can understand, and if we have a context around this, Ladakh receives a very low rainfall and it depends heavily on glaciers, snowmelt and the natural springs. So this basically, the disuse of this is an example of a tragic tale of progress that had gone wrong. How unchecked development almost had killed Leh's original water warrior. The city that depended on it grew, but the trench that sustained it was buried under its success. So, the key lesson that we can learn from this is that development without planning usually destroys the very resource that had made the development possible. Now, when we talk about how was it revived and what was the vision behind it, now, the revival and the mission mode restoration. So, it was launched in March 2026 on the direction of the then newly appointed Ladakh's Lieutenant Governor Vinay Kumar Saxena. Now, Vinay Kumar Saxena had directed official to restore the historic water source in the mission mode, and he himself had inaugurated the restoration project. So, from directive to completion in just a few months, this project had seen a rapid and focused interventions. The technology that was used, it had used the eco-friendly Gabion stone masonry structures that allow the natural water to seep down. Moreover, it had increased from 3 lakh liters a day to 5 lakh liters a day, which is a very significant 67% jump. Now, it is expected to serve nearly 2,000 households in and around the region of Leh. So, from 3 lakh to 5 lakh liters. Now, a 67% jump in capacity, not through any great technological investment, but through traditional wisdom and modern practices of restoration. So this was, as I quote the statement of Lieutenant Governor Vinay Kumar Saxena, it was built in 1980s, and this tea trench once served as the only source of drinking water supply for the entire Leh. But it was left redundant due to unabated, unplanned construction around it. So this reflects that the project, okay, had reflected upon the Ladakh's long-standing tradition of conserving water while adapting to the modern needs. Now, if we see how it will be beneficial, how it will help the households, so when we have a look at the multidimensional benefits, now it will directly supply to 2,000 plus households. So this is something that will restore the needs of the people, and this restored public asset will be of huge help to the people. Okay, the groundwater recharge will also work. The porous Gabion structures will help recharge local aquifers naturally. Along with it, the region has now been transformed into a beautiful public space for residents and tourists. Okay, so as you may see it yourself. Okay, so this is how the structure has now been restructured. Okay, and it will be a beautiful space for residents as well as the tourists, and this would simultaneously promote sustainability and the climate resilience. Okay, moreover, this single practice would now revive the Ladakh's heritage of water conservation. So once again, this initiative has been for public good. So not just infrastructure, but a social space has now been created. So it is more of a community asset that has now been built. So it is not just water. This revival is recharging hope, heritage, and the groundwater simultaneously. Okay, so the key word that we are discussing here is the Gabion stone masonry work. Okay, the Gabion structures. Okay, now these structures, they allow water to seep naturally through the porous gaps. This in turn recharges groundwater while also maintains the natural flow. Okay, so then again we can see that it is scalable, a low cost model for the entire Himalayan region. Now, essential part is that this is something that has got a very broader context. Okay, and this matters a lot for the entire Ladakh region. Now, this region faces acute water challenges, shrinking glaciers, erratic snowfall and changing precipitation patterns, and the rising temperatures. Okay, now, restoration of these traditional water bodies is a practical climate adaptation strategy, and by respecting indigenous knowledge in the face of modern development pressures, this is something wherein we can see how blending traditions and modernity comes up with good results. Now, it also sets an example for other Himalayan regions which have been facing water stress. So, officials have said that the groundwater recharge component will play an important role in ensuring the long-term sustainability of local water resources. Okay, so in the land of high passes, the small tea trench is proving that the solution to tomorrow's crisis often lie in yesterday's wisdom. The revival comes at a time when water security is becoming a growing concern across the Union territory. Okay, now restoring this traditional water source will be seen as a practical solution to strengthen water resilience in the entire region. Now, when we talk about the important takeaways of this, okay, so we can now learn and we must relearn that older water infrastructures can still play a critical role in addressing the present day challenges. Okay. One thing that we need to unlearn is unplanned construction. This unplanned construction had destroyed the entire T trench, but the planned restoration had brought it back. Moreover, such actions require a mission mode leadership. So the mission mode directive by the Lieutenant Governor made it possible that revival could be done within months. And now, when we talk about the traditional concerns, this project reflects Ladakh's long-standing tradition of conserving water. So, eco-friendly gabion structures will recharge the groundwater while they would also maintain the natural flow. So, we can see that such projects can be replicated across Ladakh for greater water security. And this Gabion structure techniques is a low cost, eco-friendly and replicable technique. Now, combining traditional water harvesting with modern planning for climate resilience is something that we must look forward to. And one thing that we have to make sure is that urban planning must prioritize protection of natural water resources. So, everybody needs to acknowledge that water is life. Okay. Now, in Leh, the T trench reminds us that protecting our past is the best way to secure our future. So, finally, the T trench is not just a water source, it is a reminder that what we build with care, okay, we can rebuild it with resolve. In a time of climate anxiety and water scarcity, Leh's revived lifeline is a message of hope for the entire world. Anything that the past has built holds the solutions for the future if only we choose to look. Okay, if only we choose to introspect. So, this T trench story is a microcosm of India's water challenge, and it demonstrates that traditional knowledge plus leadership and community participation brings out good, positive and lasting solutions. And in an era of climate crisis, reviving the forgotten lifelines is not just a nostalgia, it is a strategic adaptation. Okay, so please do let me know in the comment section what are your views over this. Along with this, if you have cracked the Civil Services Prelims 2026, then StudyIQ brings to you a well-planned, structured mains program. So, in the Successes in Mains, dedicated mains-oriented program emphasizes upon content enrichment, answer writing, ethics case studies, and value addition. Along with this, we are also offering the mains residential program, which is an intensive residential mains program offering disciplined study, daily answer writing, continuous evaluation, and close mentoring. Okay. So, for students who will be writing mains, you do not have time. So, do not explore, but just hold our hands for a structured and smart preparation. For the students who unfortunately, who could not clear the prelims examination, StudyIQ also brings to you the GS Foundation batches. Okay, so if you are appearing for 27, 28 batches, okay, we are offering complete English batches, okay, and this is a limited period offer. Okay, so under the Aramb offer, you are getting flat 50% discount on the StudyIQ courses, and you just need to use the code SRM Live to avail the best prices and start your preparation with the best-in-class mentors. Okay. So, this was all from my side today. Please do let me know your views on the revival of T Trench, and we'll see you all in the next session. Jai Hind.